Hi, it's Connie Romanek, back to tell you all about our new and improved Super Sentences Language Learning Kit. This kit is amazing, and it's the one you need if you're working on establishing some higher level language skills in children. The skills they need in kindergarten and as they transition into grade 1. In this kit, we continue to practice sentence comprehension and sentence construction. We need to make sure they're understanding the sentences they hear and can express themselves in good sentences as well, because that is the primary mode of back and forth verbal exchanges. We give some instructions, we ask some questions, but primarily we are going back and forth in sentence forms. So that's what we're continuing to practice. That is what's really important. Now, these sentences contain pronouns, verbs, and embedded clauses. That's what makes them so high level and complex. Let's take a look at those sentences right now in our picture cards. As always, our picture cards are the most important part of our kits. They are the secret sauce. They are your guide. It is like having me inside this box. This is what I know kids need to work on. This is how I've always worked on it. This is a great way to sequence and level it, and there's all kinds of ways you can support them along the way. So our cards are always divided into 3 levels of increasing difficulty with a unique extension activity. This time it's storytelling. We got 25, 25, 25, and 25 cards, making the math super easy. 100 cards, big improvement from our previous version, which was 60 cards. So let's take a look at the sentences we're going to practice in this kit. For example, level 1, this is the sentence form here. She is petting the black dog while sitting on her bed. There's a lot of information there that is extremely complex and dense with concepts and ideas. Let's break it down. We first have our phrase, she is petting. That is such a common phrase that absolutely needs to be established. She being the pronoun. However, having said that, you don't have to use the pronoun. You can say the girl or the person in the blue dress. Next is the auxiliary verb is. Is and are the basic foundational building blocks of the English language. They absolutely have to be there. She is petting. So petting being the verb in the present tense, denoted by the ing verb ending. So we got that. We got that very common phrase. She is petting the black dog. The black dog is an embedded clause that tells us what she's petting. And then while sitting on her bed is another embedded clause that tells us where she is. And we've even got another pronoun being her bed. So there's so much information. So that is the typical sentence format of level 1. So we've got some she's and some he's and some he's and some theys. And when we get to the theys, the auxiliary verb is needs to change to are. So there's so much going on language-wise. So that's level 1. Level 2 follows a somewhat similar format, but there's a couple new things in here. One of them being the verb is now in past tense. This one says she drove Leo's red scooter to school because hers fell down. So she drove. So some of the verbs will be irregular past tense, like drive and drove, where we've changed the whole word. And some of them will be regular past tense, where we just have the ed ending on there. So a nice mix. We've also got the possessive marker Leo's. So you're going to find that in every card as well. And then, of course, there's embedded clauses in there too. So, for example, because hers fell down is an embedded clause explaining why she took Leo's scooter. So we've got that in level 2. Level 3, we've done something slightly new. We've changed the auxiliary verb from is and are to has and have, because they are also very common auxiliary verbs, and they also change depending on the pronoun. So we've got that going on. And then our extension activity storytelling is absolutely awesome. We now have 5 stories instead of 3. So this story is called Who Let the Dogs Out? And I'm just looking for, here it is, the 5th card that goes with it. So I'll just lay it out on top. So every story has 4 parts. that feature Liz and Leo that always have a problem and a solution. So there we go. So, sorry, I got them all mixed up here. There we go. And they're marked on the bottom for you, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, and 1, 4. So it's easy to keep track of the stories and the order of the stories. So I kind of lay them down and read them one by one like pages in a book to the child. And then there is a 5th card that comes with every story. And it has 10 ready to go story comprehension questions. And then it has 10 other ideas on things you can do with these story cards to build their early literacy skills. Now, the thing I love about the story comprehension questions is the first one always says, what is this story about? And that's prompting the child to state the main idea of the story. And honestly, that is utmost when it comes to story comprehension. And it goes on from there. What was the problem? And so on and so forth. So that's all ready for you right there. Now I think it's the right time to show you the items in this kit. So let's bring those in now. Some of them are the same and some of them are new. We still have our store and school, although the design of them has slightly changed. We still have our beds. They're a little bit longer because Liz and Leo have grown. So they still come apart, headboard, footboard, mattress, blanket. So it's super fun for the kids to build them. And you know, you can flex it. You could have the star on the outside or you could put it on the inside. You could mix up the headboards. The beds, whoops, still stacked as bunk beds. So that's super fun. They come with a slightly different blanket this time. They come with a really nice piece of suede, so it feels great, and it's a little bit more mature because Liz and Leo are growing up. So there's that, and our pillows are really nice now too. They're better quality, they're super soft and squishy, so great things to talk about. So we've got our beds, blankets, and pillows. Of course, we still have Liz and Leo, the main stars of this kit, and they are sitting on their green couch. That's not new. We still have our table, and the table legs come off so you can build the table again. There you go. So we still have our table. These chairs, the design is slightly new and they're a better match for the table. We still have our scooters so Liz and Leo can get around. They kind of match their clothes so it's easy to remember whose is whose. Our dogs are new. Liz and Leo got new puppies, Raz and Jazz. Aren't they the sweetest little pugs you ever saw? And the cute thing about them is their heads come off, and so do their collars. So they can switch collars, lose their collars, do all kinds of things. It's just another fun thing to play with and to talk about. Our food is all the same. We have 2 fruits, and again, everything comes apart and goes back together with our food items, so we can really target parts to the whole. So we've got our fruit, our vegetables, our fast food, because who doesn't need McDonald's once in a while, our ice cream, because we always need dessert as well. We still have our phones. Everybody loves their phones. They feel so good. Our books with pages. We still have our milkshakes. Now the dogs have bones too. We couldn't leave them out of mealtime. Our baskets are new. They're kind of woven grass now, so they're a little more natural, and one is round, the other is rectangular, as wonderful additional things to talk about. They now have sports balls. These balls also bounce, so it's a good thing and maybe a distraction, but parking them or putting them in the baskets is a way to keep them still. And then I love these little guys, our cleaning tools. We've got a mop and a broom. So Liz and Leo are getting more responsible in terms of keeping the house clean. So there you go. Those are all the items in this kit. There are 40 items plus more if you want to actually count the parts to the whole. Now, how do you play? Well, as always, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. You want to get yourself set up. So ideally, you want to sit across from the child at a table where you're face to face, definitely able to watch each other's facial expressions. So child is sitting there, items are close to the child within easy reach. I take the picture cards. I'm going to start with level 1. So I take the picture cards and start off by being the speaker because I really want to make sure that the child understands the language fairly well before I'm asking them to use that language. So I would take a picture card and either read the sentence or come up with my own description. In this case, I'm going to read the sentence. That's step 1. She is walking to school by herself. Step 2 is the child demonstrates their comprehension of that sentence. So they will show me something like this. And 3, I reveal the picture card. If they demonstrated good comprehension, fantastic. And maybe if they didn't, maybe they had Liz walking to the store by herself. I know where the breakdown is. They mixed up school for store, or perhaps the child did this, so they didn't really understand the pronoun herself. So there you go. That's really how it works. 1, 2, 3 for comprehension. And then when the child is ready to work on their expressive language skills, you just switch roles. Give them the cards, have the items in reach. They pick up a card, look at the image, and tell you what to do based on that image. You don't want them reading unless you're working on reading comprehension. You really want them to come up with this language because reading sits on top of language. Literacy represents our language. Without the language, there are too many holes in the literacy part. So really make sure they've got that language. Now, they're not going to be able to say it exactly as you said it or read it, but they should be able to describe it to you and tell you what to do within reason where you understand the main message. So it's accurate and it's in a pretty good grammatical sentence and it's fairly concise. So there you go. Those are your targets and it's great to get there. So I think that is it in a nutshell in terms of how to use them, and then you would just progress through the levels as the child is ready. Now, the other thing I just want to say about this kit and what makes it so wonderful is that it's so versatile. I mean, use the cards, that's great for targeted language activity, but then just let it be and open up some pretend play here because there's so much language you can model and work on through pretend play. You can talk about what they're doing. So if the child is doing something like this, but they're not saying anything, then you can model the language. Oh, they are so tired. They are going to sleep now. Good night, Liz. Good night, Leo. You know, the other thing is you can get some conversation going back and forth. That's a great social communication skill. Does Liz say, good morning, Leo, when he gets up? And good morning, Liz. What are you doing today? Some of that stuff. The other thing you can do is all kinds of verbal reasoning. So you can be playing and then purposefully create problems to solve. Like Liz was riding her scooter to the store, but then she ran out of gas. Actually, that's one of our stories. Oh no, what should she do? So we've stated the problem. We're going to come up with some solutions, pick the best solution, and avoid that problem in the future. Ultimately, that's where you want to get to when it comes to verbal reasoning. So it's a great place to establish the language and the sequence of verbal reasoning. So then when a problem really happens, a real problem happens in the classroom and the child is getting a little upset about it, you can revert back into the ability to talk about it. You can do that. And the other thing you can do is some perspective taking. So this is really beginning to emerge in children that are 4 or 5 years old. The ability to recognize that people feel differently and have different perspectives. So you can do things like, Leo is so happy, so working on some emotion vocabulary, but how does Liz feel? So you're really pointing out that they feel differently. And why do they feel that way? He's happy because he has ice cream. She's unhappy because she doesn't. Oh, well, how can we make her feel better? That's a problem, and that's the solution right there and then. Now they're so happy eating their ice creams. on the couch together. So those are some great things you can do with this kit, and I think it's awesome to make sure they've got that language so they can succeed and absorb the curriculum and demonstrate their knowledge. And I hope you love it as much as I do and the kids do. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you again soon.